I hope you enjoy your break. So I'm here with Mr. Olsen from this Clerk.io. He's a product enablement specialist. So we are here to discuss, to share more about this personalizing the customer journey. All right, all yours, Mr. Olsen.
Thank you very much. And hello, guys. I'm very glad to be here. I'm really excited, actually. I just talked to my good friend here about, I really wanted to be in Singapore right now, but I'm in Copenhagen in a sort of gray weather in the morning, but really excited to be here. So what I'm going to talk about today is personalization and why it matters to e-commerces and of course also Magento web shops. And my agenda today is I'm going to give you an introduction as to why I'm here and why you should listen to me. Then I'm going to talk about what personalization is, just so we're on the same page regarding the concept of personalization, because it's a phrase that is all over the internet, of course, and you might already have heard about it, but just so you know what I mean with personalization. Then I'm going to talk about why it's important and why you should definitely personalize your web shop before going over to how we do it in my company at Clerk.io and how you can actually get started in less than 8 hours, because it doesn't have to take a lot of time or be complicated to personalize your web shop. So first of all, of course, who am I? Why should you listen to me at all? You should listen to me because I am the product enablement specialist in the world's #1 rated e-commerce personalization platform, which is Clerk.io. And that's kind of a big feat, considering we are like a small Danish company, at least in contrast to a lot of the other bigger companies out there. But across all of the various platforms we are on, we are the best rated due to a number of reasons that you'll hopefully understand when I'm done with this presentation. So first of all, what is personalization? Personalization is understanding what a consumer wants to do next. Because after all, the more the internet grows and the more options we get as consumers, it becomes more and more relevant for us to actually just find what we need very, very fast. And the longer it takes, the higher the chances are that nobody converts if they have to spend a lot of time finding things on web shops or on content sites or basically anywhere else on the internet. And there's a lot of fights, of course, over getting the consumers in the end because you want to increase your sales in e-commerce. Personalization is also showing the right content at the right time, which of course ties into the same concept, because you want to make sure that if I come in looking for a monitor, for example, you shouldn't show me a lot of TV screens or vice versa, because that I won't buy. And in that case, I'm likely going to bounce or just not come to the website again if I'm not actually showed what it is I'm looking for. And that can be done, of course, over the entirety of the web shop, which I'll get into a bit later. Personalization is also keeping consumers engaged with your brand, which means that the better you can get at actually making sure that consumers use your e-commerce business as the first point of searching and avoiding Google altogether, the higher the chances of returning customers. And as all marketeers know, it's much cheaper to retain a customer than to acquire them in the beginning, because you have to spend a lot of marketing money, of course, on that. So personalization can really help you engage with your brand as well when it comes to making sure consumers start there. And then lastly, personalization is of course very important to your business due to all of these above reasons, which I'll then dig into now. So why is it actually that important? It is because consumer impatience is a real thing. I know it from myself. Like, I just expect Google to fix my search results, even though I'd make a misspell, even though I can't see it's actually there, because we get more and more used to these technologies that just make it so easy for us to do things on the internet. But that also leads to more impatience. So I know it from myself. Again, if I browse a web shop and I'm not able to find what I'm looking for within a couple of searches or browsing 1 or 2 category pages, I usually lose my patience and go somewhere else. Couple that with the fact that we have so many options on the internet today, it's really important, like I said, to focus on making sure it's easy to find things on the web shop to avoid these higher bounce rates and then actually leading to more conversions in the end. It's also important because irrelevant recommendations cause annoyance and loss of interest in the end. Like I gave you the example before, if I'm looking at a Samsung television, it's likely because I'm looking for a television. But if you go and show recommendations that are more sort of the same thing, it's still a screen, but it's a monitor, then I'm not going to find that interesting. And in case I didn't find the right television, I'm not going to find what I'm looking for in these recommendations. And that's why personalization is important. Recommendations are not just a one-size-fits-all. There's a lot of ways of handling both recommendations and search that you'll see in a moment that can lead to more conversions and, in general, a better user experience on your e-commerce. The right way to do it then is to have easy to find personalized results, which will actually keep consumers shopping. For example, one of the things we focus a lot on in Clerk.io are the alternatives on a product page. And those are really important because when you come from Google, for example, you go to a product page, for example, looking for a new pair of pants, but you didn't find the right pants because of whatever reason, maybe they are the wrong size or not the right color or too expensive, then having personalized alternatives that are closely resembling the pants you were just looking at is a fantastic way to increase the conversion rate and also reduce your bounce rate. Because you on the same page, you show the other products that the customer will likely be interested in. But I'll dig a bit more into that later. And then the icing on the cake, which I think is likely the most important thing, especially because you as e-commerce owners or marketeers or in general just working with e-commerce usually have a lot of stuff on your table, especially now coming Black Friday, as you likely know. So the cool thing about personalization, apart from the fact that it actually increases your revenue, is that it also saves you time. And the purpose behind this is, in order to have really good personalization, you need a tool that is automated completely, meaning that you integrate it once, and then it just uses the existing behavior of consumers on your web shop to optimize all the results dynamically without you having to interfere unless you really want to in order to achieve a marketing purpose. So that's why we advocate in Clerk.io a lot for not manually selecting search results and recommendations, because we believe in saving guys time on the web shop while still increasing revenue with personalization. So how do we actually do that in real life? Because one thing is I'm talking about all of this and giving you a lot of buzzwords, as I know some of this is. But in order to show you what Clerk.io actually does, we have what's called Clerk Core. And Clerk Core is a proprietary algorithm that we have built ourselves, meaning it's not based on Elasticsearch or anything else. It is completely bespoke. And it's actually an artificial intelligence that knows what a consumer wants to buy next. That's the primary focus our algorithm has. And then the 4 products that we have are actually used in order to make this information accessible in the web shop or in your marketing, for example, through AdWords or your email client or wherever else you're doing marketing. There are a lot of options out there, and many of you might never have heard about Clerk.io, but you might have heard of other recommendations or personalization engines. And yes, there are a lot of them. But like I said in the beginning, there is a big difference between how these systems work. And the difference with Clerk.io compared to other engines out there is that we have no startup time. Usually when you talk about AIs, there's a learning period in the beginning and also when adding new products, which can actually be quite damaging to the web shop, because that means that new products will not get a chance to actually be highlighted in results, but they are not going to have good recommendations either themselves when browsing them. And Clerk doesn't have that issue, because when you install Clerk in the very beginning, we can load all of the existing sales data from a web shop. So we already know from day one what is supposed to be shown. And then afterwards, even when you add a new product, we build these clouds of products basically that fit together. So if you already have a big group of shoes and you add a new shoe, we instantly know how that fits into the whole metric of products in your web shop. So you will always have good recommendations and good search results, even for completely new products. And that's a game changer, because it again pushes you further towards the option of not having to spend any manual time on recommendations. Clerk is also a customer data platform, which is something that at least in Denmark and other places as well, people have started to talk a lot about, because you want to centralize one place where you have all of your customer data that you can then get out again and use in various purposes. So the point is that Clerk Core can take in a lot of information from your products, your customers, your orders. Anything that we can track on a web shop will be part of Clerk Core, and in the end will allow you to get that information out again as audience data, which I'll come to in a moment. So the 4 products we have, audience being one of them that I mentioned, we also have search recommendations and emails. So we have tools that cater to every single part of the web shop, both the ones that customers see, search and recommendations, but also emails and audiences, which are used in your marketing to make your marketing personalized as well with just a few clicks. So to show you a bit more about what these products actually look like, our search function consists of an instant search and a search page, meaning we can both show the very best products matching whatever a customer is searching for while they type, but also on a full search page, including filters. The important thing here is that we actually think about a search as a recommendation as well. So it's personalized in the sense that when you search for Woden Christmas decorations with a lot of spelling mistakes, we can still show that, but we also rank the products based on what most customers are actually likely to buy. And that's a huge game changer, because if you have a campaign running, or we know that in winter, when you search for jackets, you should see winter jackets instead of like summer jackets, it really increases the conversions by personalizing results based on what is actually happening on the web shop, and thus showing the right thing at the right time. We also have dynamic recommendations. This is only a little selection of the options we have with recommendations. But the point about our engine is that we can personalize the entire customer journey, no matter which page a customer enters on, whether that's the home page, they go straight to the product pages, maybe they have a personalized page for themselves when they log in. All of these pages can be personalized with our recommendations. And the point is that we have types of recommendations that match any page. So on the home page, for example, you can show visitor recommendations, which would show something related to each individual user's click history. Because often when people hit the homepage, it's because they already have been on the web shop, and they very likely have some click history that allows us to show personalized content there. On the product pages, we usually split them up between alternatives, as you can see in the screenshot here, but also cross-sell products, where we can actually show what most customers would be likely to buy with any product they're browsing. Also 100% automated. So that's a big difference between us and a lot of other recommendations engines out there, where most other engines would focus on having one banner called related products. We very specifically split them out in two sections, alternatives and cross-sell, to allow customers to find what they're looking for and understand their situation. Then we also have an add to basket step, for example, which is a step you put in after adding a product to the basket, which is the perfect place to actually start upselling the entire order. And the point of the power step, as you can see in the screenshot, is actually both to confirm the action of the customer, to make it clear that they added the product, but also to let them go to checkout or back to shopping in case they don't want to buy anything else. If they do want to buy something else, that's where you can really gain some extra potential for extra sales by showing cross-sell products and visitor recommendations and so on, which you can do directly from our engine. There's of course a lot more options. These are just 3 examples. I couldn't fit more into the slide before it would be a little stupid. But we have so many more options, like on the cart page and even on the no results page of the search function, exit intent. There is a lot of options here for personalizing the customer journey. We also have personalized email recommendations, which I think is one of the maybe one of the coolest features we have, because one of the problems marketeers often stumble across in email marketing is finding the right products to show in emails. It always takes a lot of time to do, but with Clerk.io's recommendations, it's literally just a copy-paste embed code. It consists of 2 options: creating a content, which is a type of recommendations to show, like bestsellers, hot products, or recommendations based on every individual recipient's order history. And then a design that you can choose in order to make the recommendations look any way you want to. Apart from that, these recommendations are completely dynamic. So if you copy the embed code into your email client and you send out a blast to 2,000 customers, if one of those products become out of stock before everybody has actually opened these emails, Clerk will automatically insert new products that matches what can be bought right now. So you will get completely dynamic recommendations that can actually just be included one time, and then you just know that it's always going to show something that's relevant and can actually be bought. Audience is our segmentation tool. Segmentation is likely a better word for it, but the point is that we understand a lot about the user's behavior, and we can actually segment them and give you back a list of customers matching any goal you want. And that could be interested in Star Wars products, or wants to buy cheaper products, or who are VIPs but have not purchased in a while, customers that are lost. All of these are calculated by our algorithm to figure out which customers to show in which case. And this is a fantastic tool for making sure that you send the right emails to the right customers. I also mentioned that we of course at Clerk advocate to have as much automation as possible, but if you have certain marketing goals that you want to achieve, we have a merchandising functionality that allows you to basically create any sort of merchandising campaign you want and choose exactly what to show, either by giving significant boosts to products, removing products, or pinning them to top. Basically, you can impact any search and any recommendation if you want to always show a certain type of accessory for a certain type of product, like always show these pants for this jacket. All of that can be done for all of our products. So you have the option of manually impacting results while still keeping the automated functionality of Clerk. At the same time, you get real-time analytics where you can actually see how these products perform, both on the individual level of each product, but also overall, where we can actually show how much of a difference we make. And each product even has its own dashboard where you can, for example, see what customers are searching for, which banners are performing the best, and so on. So there's a lot of analytics to go through if you are an analytics nerd like me, and see that everything is actually doing what it's supposed to. This is also one of the things I think is really interesting. And one of the reasons why I love Magento and why Clerk loves Magento is because it's such a customizable platform that allows you to build some really great things, especially as a developer like we are, that makes it easy for people to actually set it up but still customize things. That's why you can get started in less than 8 hours with Clerk.io if you are on Magento 1 or more likely Magento 2. In our backend, we have a fully guided interface that actually walks you through the entire setup, from installing the extension over to creating your designs and installing every single component of Clerk. And that's why it's so easy for anybody to just follow it. And in case you get stuck, we have a support that you can always write on chat that always helps out with any issues you might have. And we are quite technical, so we can even answer questions usually regarding templating languages and so on. What it takes is, first you must install the extension, either through Connect Manager in Magento 1 or through our toolbox script, or just SSH directly on Magento 2. That extension takes care of the rest. Then you need to sync your catalog, which you can do with the extension that sends Clerk.io the products and categories and orders at least, also the pages and customers if you want to do that, which then allows us to sync with the web shop. Then you need to design your elements, and you can do that either in our design editor, where you can do some simple designs, but at least get it close to your web shop's look and feel, or you can customize it completely through code, which a lot of developers and semi-technical web shop managers choose to do, because it gives you a lot more flexibility in how to make the elements look. Then you need to insert the results, which you can do either directly through the extension by simply enabling it under each of the settings, as you can see here in Product or Power Step, or you can do it directly with our snippets, which again allows you to have more customizability and choose where to show the results. Because everywhere you insert this particular code, the product page alternatives would be shown. And that's how the entirety of the system works. And that's actually all it takes to set up Clerk.io. Of course, 8 hours gets you from nothing to a personalized web shop, but then you can always spend more time on making adjustments and making some better designs, and you have a lot of flexibility with the system that can allow you to do a lot of stuff. But it's just to show you that it doesn't actually have to take more than 8 hours to go from nothing to a fully personalized web shop where you don't need to do anything to your recommendations and search results. That's part of the reason why we are the world's best rated e-commerce personalization platform, as I mentioned in the beginning. The other part is the actual results that we provide for web shops we are on. On average, we actually increase the average order value by 35.4%, and there's a 9.3 times higher chances of customers converting when interacting with web shops that have Clerk.io on them. At the same time, they spend an average of 6 minutes and 19 seconds more on the web shop, again allowing for more chances of conversion, while adding on average 1.21 extra products to the basket. So it's just to show you how much more customers actually engage. Then I would recommend you to go and check out our G2 reviews if you think this is interesting, because we're really proud ourselves of having real customers and real partners talk about us and write why they think we are as good as we are. And this is just an example of a couple of a review that a customer has given us and a review that a partner has given us, because we of course want both the partners we have and the customers to really see the benefit that we provide, so everybody gets better performance on their web shop. And that was actually it for me. And now there's going to be a Q&A session where I'll answer anything I can.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Olsen. I will say, just take my money. So awesome.
Send them, please, right now.
Okay. So for Q&A, our first question is, roughly how long do you think typically this collaboration and discovery should take in coming up with what exactly the customer requires? Like
how long it takes for the algorithm, or?
I think it's more on the setting up and implementation.
Yeah, how long it usually takes?
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, it really depends on how much customization you want to do. But I do see for most Magento 1 or Magento 2 web shops, it doesn't take any more than between 4 to 8 hours. That's the primary setup. Then usually the extra time that is spent is if you want to customize the designs a lot and you want to have extra add to cart buttons, and all of these things can be done, but it takes a little longer, of course. But that's the average. I will say it's somewhere between 4 to 10 hours to have a really good setup. So.
Wow, I gotta hide my wallet. So next question. Next question is more on the analytics. So I just want to check for analytics, are there ready templates or like when I want to see a dashboard, is it customizable?
Well, we have some standard templates definitely that you can easily use. Regarding the dashboards, they are customizable sort of in the way that you can choose which date range you want to see in and so on. And potentially you could even use our API because Clerk.io is an API at its core. We've just built a lot of stuff on top of it to make it easy to integrate. But you could create your own dashboards with our API if you want to do something very custom. But I will say it's not something I've seen a lot because most people really see the benefit of just having our dashboard, as we also do updates to it whenever we get good feature requests and so on. So we are very agile in our way of developing. So when we hear a good idea, we take it into account and develop it if it can make sense for other customers as well.
So where do where are all these data stored? All my customers' data, where would they be stored?
It would be stored on, physically it would be stored on our servers on Amazon in Frankfurt, in Germany. But you own the data. Clerk.io is basically just a data processor. So we are not allowed to manipulate your data or send it to anybody else. And each single store is its own completely separated entity. So it's physically impossible for anybody else to access it apart from having access to that account.
All right.
That's why we're very GDPR focused. So.
All right, good. So, okay, I think due to time constraint, we have to cut short. So, where can any of our participants find you? Do you have a LinkedIn or a website or?
Yes, I have a LinkedIn, and we have our website Clerk.io, of course, and I have a LinkedIn at Stefan Lorenz Olsen, which is the same as here. I don't know. Can you send the PowerPoint afterwards, or we'll figure that out? But in any case, you're also more than welcome to contact me on my email, which you can see in the bottom here, slo@clerk.io. If you have any questions or you want to talk about how we can help your web shop, we are more than open to that.
All right. So I will say, like, if anyone who wants to improve your customer experience, can reach out to this email at the bottom. So thank you for your time. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. So we'll move on to our next session, Mr. Naranja. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Matt. Have a nice day. Bye.